Hello BookTube, it's Joshua here, and I'm going to be just reading you guys a bit of poetry. This is the book that I will be reading from. It's titled "The Golden Book of Modern English Poetry," an anthology, and the publisher is Everyman's Library. As you might be able to tell just from the physical state of it, it is an old book. This was actually printed this edition was printed in 1935. However, it was first published, I think if I remember correctly, in 1922. So this is a very old book. There are two prefaces here. Two introductory notes. The first one was written in 1922. The second one in 1935, and I found it really interesting to see kind of the signs of the time period in those introductions. But I won't read you those. I just want to read to you three poems. One of them is slightly longer, but three poems by a guy named Wilfrid Scawen Blunt. I had never heard of him before I just randomly flipped to a random page in this book, and I found him. But here he is. The first poem is titled "The Old Squire." I like the hunting of the hare better than that of the fox. I like the joyous morning air and the crowing of the cocks. I like the calm of the early fields, the ducks asleep by the lake, the quiet hour which nature yields before mankind is awake. I like the pheasants and feeding things of the unsuspicious morn. I like the flap of the wood pigeon's wings as she rises from the corn. I like the blackbird's shriek and his rush from the turnips as I pass by, and the partridge hiding her head in a bush, for her young ones cannot fly. I like these things, and I like to ride when all the world is in bed, to the top of a hill where the sky grows wide, and where the sun grows red. The beagles at my horse heels trot in silence after me. There's Ruby, Roger, Diamond, Dot, Old Slut, and Marjorie. A score of names well used and dear, the names my childhood knew. The horn with which I rouse their cheer is the horn my father blew. I like the hunting of the hare better than that of the fox. The new world still is all less fair than the old world it mocks. I covet not a wider range than these dear manors give. I take my pleasure without change, and as I lived, I live. I leave my neighbors to their thought. My choice it is, and pride, on mine own lands to find my sport, in my own fields to ride. The hare herself no better loves the field where she was bred, than I the habit of these groves, my own inherited. I know my quarries, every one, the mews where she sits low. The road she chose today was run 100 years ago. The legs, the gills, the forest ways, the hedgerows one and all, these are the kingdoms of my chase, and bounded by my wall. Nor has the world a better thing, though one should search it round, than thus to live one's own sole king upon one's own sole ground. I like the hunting of the hare. It brings me, day by day, the memory of old days as fair with dead men passed away. To these, as homeward still I ply, and past the churchyard gate, where all are laid as I must lie, I stop and raise my hat. I like the hunting of the hare. New sports I hold in scorn. I like to be as my fathers were in the days ere I was born. So that was the Old Squire. About maybe a page and a half long, I would say. And hold on. So I only have 2 poems to read you, actually. Sorry. And the second poem is called On the Shortness of Time, and I really like this one. On the shortness of time. If I could live without the thought of death, forgetful of time's waste, the soul's decay, I would not ask for other joy than breath, with light and sound of birds and the sun's ray. I could sit on untroubled day by day, watching the grass grow, and the wild flowers range from blue to yellow and from red to gray, in natural sequence as the seasons change. I could afford to wait, but for the hurt of this dull tick of time which chides my ear. But now I dare not sit with loins ungirt and staff unlifted, for death stands too near. I must be up and doing, aye, each minute. The grave gives time for rest when we are in it. And I really like that. I think it's very true. And also, I forgot to mention, in the first poem, in The Old Squire, there was that one line, the beagles at my horse heels trot in silence after me. And that reminded me of a certain booktuber on YouTube. But, well, okay, I might as well read you the third one here. It's called St. Valentine's Day. So here it is. Today, all day, I rode upon the down, with hounds and horsemen, a brave company. On this side in its glory lay the sea. On that side Sussex wheeled, a sea of brown. The wind was light, and brightly the sun shone. And still we galloped on from gorse to gorse. And once, when checked, a thrush sang, and my horse pricked his quick ears as to a sound unknown. I knew the spring was come. I knew it even better than all by this, that through my chase in bush and stone and hill and sea and heaven I seemed to see and follow still your face. Your face my quarry was, for it I rode, my horse a thing of wings, myself a god. I mean, that there are a couple questionable rhymes there. The very last couplet, road and God, I don't think that really works. And in the first poem, in The Old Squire, in the second last stanza, he rhymes gate with hat, which also doesn't really work. But other than that, I think it's been like the poetry is really good. And I had never heard of him before this, so I just wanted to share this. And yeah, so it's been a while, but thank you for watching, and goodbye.